on the 101 South, it's not like, you know, there's no cars on the road on this Sunday evening. And so it just increases the chance of dangerous conditions for these drivers who are also on the road. Let's take a look back at our first and only pit maneuver of this pursuit. This was actually on a surface street, and that CHP driver executes a beautiful pit maneuver there, but the driver is completely unaffected. And as Chris Christie, you were saying, there was not a second CHP officer to kind of stop him once that pit maneuver was made possible. Yeah, if you've been watching on the left, there was a pedestrian about to cross the street, and he stopped in his tracks as this pursuit came through, then blew through another red light. Traveling now on 4th Street, hitting 4th and Santa Ana. He's already been on this road before, circled back around about a half an hour ago, and now once again on side streets with pursuit in tow, which has been bad news for the safety of those around. Yeah, because as these cars have come through, you see a pursuing officer now driving on the wrong side of the street. They're taking this very seriously and looking to bring this to an end now. Yeah. If you see these officers again they're driving on the wrong side of the street as this driver continues to drive with reckless abandon without concern for the safety of those around him. And that's also what makes it dangerous, is when these officers potentially get in a car crash with another car, other pedestrians, because they're trying to get this driver to slow down. So this has spanned for the better at least an hour here. Started in Alhambra and has weaved its way in and out of the highways. We're back on surface streets, but it is very clear that this driver does not want to get caught tonight. Yeah, driving now on Soto Street, which again is another road we've talked about this driver being on some time ago. And just look at the speed that we're going here. This is a side street we're talking about, and this is probably, it looks like 50, 60 miles an hour. And just again, one person crossing the road as you cross here, crossing beneath the 5 freeway, and the 10 freeway should be right there as well. This is the interchange of the 10, 60, and the 5. It's just so dangerous. Just one little thing goes wrong and you're talking about someone being sent to the hospital, or worse, not even making it to the hospital. Yeah, we want to show you video again of how dangerous this pursuit has been, and also at times when the suspects, at least 3 of the suspects or 3 people and passengers in this car have jumped out. This guy, as you're watching here, he's just going to start running, boom, as the car is even still going, and takes off. At this point, I don't believe that CHP was behind, so it's possible that that guy got away at this point. And then the next time that other people got out of the car, this is going to be 2 passengers, one from the driver's side and one from the back there. They get out and they kind of stroll onto Greenwood Avenue. We have Chris Christie on the line still. Chris, let's talk about when they're driving through a neighborhood like this, the pursuing officers, lights, I'm guessing, and sirens just to let everyone know they're coming. You don't want someone not paying attention, not hearing you coming and crossing the street.
That's right. Everybody could hear these guys coming now. It was a little bit of a sigh of relief a little while ago when he was on the 101, and it just hurts to see him get off the freeway again, back onto surface streets. But as you mentioned, fortunately, we have several units involved now. They have their lights and sirens on, and sure, people can hear it coming in their direction. But as the sun goes down and night starts to fall, that increases the chances that the driver himself may not see somebody crossing the street. So what I'm looking for here is he continues through these smaller surface streets. He's going to be forced to slow down like he is right here, and they will likely, if there's nobody else around, if he gets on a stretch of the road where there's not too much traffic, they may give the go-ahead for another pit maneuver. And if they do that this time, they've got other units in place to try and block him in. That's a luxury that they did not have for that first pit maneuver, which did a little bit of damage but was not enough to stop the vehicle. Now he's slowing down. You see there's some room to work with. He's still going through those red lights, but as he slows down for some of those turns, they may go ahead with that next pit maneuver. Yeah, this is 8th Street, just crossed over Soto, now making a right, I believe, onto Boyle Avenue. This is, again, right around the interchange of the 5 and the 10 and the 101. Heading north on Boyle Avenue, you're going to see more freeways, I think, come into your shot here. Yep, there is the 5 once again. This is the north side of that 3-way interchange of the 101, the 5, and the 10. Been circling around this area, one of several areas we've seen kind of repeat through, cycle through, now making a left onto, is this
7th Street, yep, back onto 7th Street. So heading west on 7th Street, across the freeway, and continue again across the LA River and back into the Arts District, which again on a Sunday night is full of pedestrians, full of people going out to eat, going to bars, I keep mentioning Two-Bit Circus, but that's going to draw a crowd maybe of various ages. You might have some kids there as well.
Yeah, we saw him hit 2 green lights there, probably his only green lights in this entire pursuit. He has been running red after red after red and just blowing through stop signs, and that's really what makes this so dangerous. He's hitting out of the green here, but he's just really taking those corners so tightly, going into the other lanes really, and just taking these officers on a really wild chase here through these streets. That it's just so quite dangerous. You can see the Arts District murals there. A lot of people probably going to the bars tonight, Sunday evening, spending time outside. It was a really nice day after quite a rainy Saturday. So we're hoping that he stays in an area that's more industrial like this. But look at that.
Good that he turned left on Mateo and not right, because we're getting more, the further south you go on Mateo, the more industrial it gets, the further away from the Arts District you're getting. And there should be Olympic Boulevard. Just turning without stopping into oncoming traffic, nearly hitting a car and crossing back over to the right side of the road. Man, that is another really close call.
Oof.
Yeah, that was so, and that driver had no idea it was coming. Look he passed a CHP unit going the other direction. Hopefully they're staggering themselves ahead, so maybe possibly do some kind of pit maneuver or spike strips. Would they do spike strips on these surface streets, Chris?
Yeah, this is an ideal conditions for a spike strip. The problem is you have to have a little bit of a beat. You have to establish some kind of a pattern so you can get units in place. What we're looking for here, I think, is actually going to be the pit maneuver, especially as we get into a more commercialized area where there's a little bit less pedestrian traffic and fewer cars in general. But he's got to slow down. They won't do that pit maneuver unless he drops down to about 35, maybe 40 miles per hour. But 35 is kind of the sweet spot, 35 miles per hour for an effective and safe pit maneuver.
Yeah, luckily last time he was able to get him on a turn. This is it right here.
Yeah.
Turning from Pioneer onto Waddell.
Boom,
and
right there.
It was great. It executed perfectly, popped him up onto the elevated median strip. But
it looked like it could have been over.
Yeah, there was no one there to stop his escape, and that's where he went. So again, on the left side of your screen is live, traveling about 60 miles an hour on Olympic Boulevard, going eastbound back through Boyle Heights, back eastbound towards Lorena Street, Soto Street Junction, on the wrong side of the road, blowing through another red light. So lucky that these intersections are abandoned and there aren't cars coming through. This is about half a dozen we've seen right now where he's gone through like this at full speed.
Maybe we can get in a little tighter into the driver. I know earlier he had his window open, and I know it's a little bit more difficult to see inside these cars, especially as the sun goes down. It looks like the night sun from the CHP chopper is illuminating this car, but hopefully we can get a closer look at that driver in just a little bit here. We understand there might even be another passenger inside that car. We've been told possibly 5 suspects, but we know that those 3 suspects we showed you earlier have already jumped out of the car and taken off.
And at this point, no longer suspects. They committed crimes by fleeing police and then getting out and running. So we know that they have committed crimes. This driver is in pursuit right now. We don't know for sure. We talked about possible stabbing in a cemetery that Chris Christie brought up. But
whoa! Look at that passenger or that pedestrian right there. Jeez, that person was obviously just trying to get across there, and that car almost hit them.
Yeah, not expecting a car to be speeding on the wrong side of the road as you just want to cross the street. It's so dangerous. The longer this goes, the more desperate this driver gets. And the faster he's driving again, now opposite direction on the turn lane, back into regular side of traffic, over 60 miles an hour on Olympic Boulevard.
And you see actually what's interesting, that some of these drivers, they can see the lights and sirens coming, the pursuit coming, and so they've been pulling over, which is great for them, anticipating that danger. But I do get worried about the cars coming from the opposite direction, potential head-on collision could possibly happen.
Yeah, made a right onto Telegraph Road as we head into East Los Angeles, now crossing under the 710-5 interchange. This continues to go further away from downtown Los Angeles, but still through very heavily populated areas. Telegraph parallels the 5 as it heads towards the Citadel outlets. And we'll see what happens when he gets over that direction, because we're only a short way, maybe about a quarter mile from the Citadel outlets. Whether this is going to be a point where he wants to ditch the car, lose himself somewhere in a crowd.
Whoa. Did he just clip that car? He just clipped that car. Oh my goodness. That car was trying to get out of the way and he clipped the back of it.
And took off a piece either of his own car or the back rear bumper, left side bumper of that car. Man.
So dangerous. It's so incredible, Chris, that didn't cause a bigger collision. But that's the kind of danger that we're looking at.
Right. And if you notice here, it does look like once again CHP has backed off at least a little bit, because I haven't seen them in the shop for at least a couple of minutes now. So they're giving him once again a little more space to breathe, just to bring that temperature down. But now I see another one right behind him here. I'm watching on a little bit of a delay with you guys. But yeah, it's very, very scary conditions for a chase like this, especially in this part of East LA. It's this part of town is a little bit hairy in general, so keeping up with him as these roads transition and weave underneath the East LA interchange.
Yeah, now getting onto the 5 freeway from Eastern Avenue, now heading southbound on the 5 freeway. It's tense watching this, knowing he's back on the freeway. We can at least take a breath, knowing that there won't be anybody, no more red lights and no one crossing the road, at least until he gets back off and starts doing this all over again.
Yeah, but and take a look at this wrong side driving from earlier. I mean, it just shows that it doesn't matter if he is on the highway, if he's on surface streets. This person is really willing to do whatever it takes to get away from these CHP officers, even though they have been tracking him and monitoring him this entire time. So you got to wonder why. It looks like he's also driving on the shoulder right now, getting into more traffic than he probably anticipated. But of course, there's going to be traffic tonight at 6 o'clock on a Sunday. Everybody's going home.
Welcome to LA. This is driving through Commerce. That was the Commerce Casino on the bottom of your screen. So just passing Commerce Casino, heading further south on the 5 freeway, and we'll see how long he takes it on here. It's so much easier to breathe now watching him on a freeway. It's still dangerous. He's still speeding and he's still weaving and driving. It looks like almost on the shoulder. Might take it off the road here, but it's just a different tone and tenor when he's on a freeway as opposed to just racing through neighborhoods and side streets like he has been doing.
And Jory, we're just
he's got about another mile of stop and go traffic, and that's going to give CHP a little bit of time here. The silver lining to all of this traffic, it's kind of slowing him down and giving CHP not only the units behind him to catch up and keep a close eye on him, but it also gives units ahead to potentially set up for a spike strip at the exit ramps, and it also gives them a little bit of time to shut off some of the traffic behind them to clear off the freeway. So they can actually form a traffic break behind him if they see an opportunity. Right now, it's a little bit too congested,
once again on
but they are following from behind. You see the night sun coming from that CHP helicopter up above there, so they've got eyes on him from a number of different angles, but the slower speed that he's doing because of all of this traffic on a Sunday night is definitely playing to their advantage, gives them a chance to at least start thinking about a spike strip at some of the upcoming exit ramps.
Cutting it really close there on the shoulder. Going to do it again here. A tight squeeze along the retaining wall. Several cars just driving at speed on the shoulder and now pulling back into traffic.
And Chris and Jory, we're just learning from the LASD that the suspect, the driver, is actually wanted for assault with a deadly weapon. That deadly weapon is a gun. So it certainly elevates the criminal aspect of this, and the tension for authorities, possibly why they backed off, because this could result in more than just a car accident, possibly a shootout, which we have seen. We've even seen it on the 5 freeway, not far from our station, at a pursuit that ended in a shootout around here.
Yeah, that is a different thing. It's a different animal when you're talking about someone. Here we go, spinning out.
Whoa! Did he hit a spike strip? What exactly happened there?
Still
looks like the lights are flashing, and we've got
2 people bailing.
Okay, all right. So the driver, and CHP coming in hot. Oh, they're not going to be able to. Is that a fence there? They're not going to be able to. This is the wrong place to get out.
Driving across lanes of traffic, now crossing the street to a gas station. There was an Arco. One suspect dressed in all black, one with a white T-shirt and black shorts.
Oh, gosh, tripping over that.
Yeah,
not moving too quickly, considering the circumstances here. But they're cutting across that gas station parking lot.
This is at Slauson and Santa Ana.
There's another CHP
stopping,
unit.
The other one pulling up, and let's follow the one
Okay. Oh, all right. It looks like the guy in the white, I believe, was the driver. So this is the main person that they potentially could be looking for.
You see the night sun is on
Yep.
one. There was a vehicle in pursuit of the other man who escaped that vehicle dressed in all black. So this guy running across, this is Zindale Avenue at Gage. There's train tracks. We'll see if he runs down the tracks where maybe cars aren't able to pursue. But that night sun is lighting up his escape, and he is dressed in a bright white T-shirt. So we'll see if we see any, maybe a canine officer or pursuing officers on foot. But he's not moving very well at all.
He is not. You got to wonder if he's possibly under, some controlled substances. Was he drinking?
And here
We really
comes an
don't know. But yeah, there's an officer kind of in the distance there, but they do have that night sun on him, Chris. And so, but it's going in the wrong direction. Let's keep it on him.
Yeah, those in the sky are alerting the officers on the ground where to pursue, and here we go. So we have a patrol unit driving along the railroad tracks, and he's giving up.
Is he giving up? He did put his hands up. No, he's not. He's going on that fence.
Maybe a sign of exasperation that the pursuit continues, now hopping over a fence.
Yikes. Okay, falls onto the ground. Falls onto the ground. Looks like an officer is out. The guy falls.
Yeah, you can see that pursuing sheriff's deputy signaling, radioing in where he is going, hopping over another fence
and
into
that
a second
CHP
yard.
officer, look at him. He's trying to get over that fence too. He's scaled another fence there. That suspect, he's really not slowing down. But if you get, there's a dog on the other side, a German Shepherd. Not going to want to jump into that yard. He's going behind.
He's clearly running out of steam here, and as he kind of corners himself into this backyard, they are immediately going to start flooding the zone here.
Taking
and
off his white shirt.
Form a perimeter.
Yep, he just took off his white shirt now. So
Hands
looks like
falling down as he moves rather slowly on, this is Todd Avenue. So walking down the sidewalk, still being lit up by the night sun. Of course, officers, deputies on the ground are being told by the airship that this person is no longer dressed in white, rather wearing a black tank top. And again, still fleeing on the sidewalk.
Well, he's walking now. Looks like he's really running out of steam here. It's just a matter of time before the CHP officers come and get him. It just gotta wonder where they are. You know,
so
that
keep in mind this is all happening while there is a second man on the run. We assume he was
there's that CHP officer
apprehended pretty quick.
CHP officer running in from behind. He's got kind of a light jog, this suspect, but he is done for.
Hands on his hips, either winded or to keep his pants up, and now it is over.
It is over. And get on the ground. There you go. All right. He's following orders. He's not being confrontational, which is good.
This might just be a matter of being out of energy to fight back or flee any longer, realizing he is out of gas and he's done. So he's on the ground. The pursuing sheriff's deputy now placing handcuffs on him. So that's one person in custody. At some point, we'll check back and see if we can see if there was a second person in custody.
I mean, we have 4 people who got out of that car at one point or another during this chase.
Yeah, we'll have to check with CHP. We'll have to check with LASD and LAPD to see whether they were able to pick up any of those 3 previous men who exited this SUV. But one person is now in custody.
Can we zoom in on this suspect here? Can we get a closer look here at the final end of this pursuit that started in Alhambra, has worked its way all the way through East LA. We went into the Arts District. A car was hit. There were some really close calls with passengers driving erratically all over the place. This is just the end of a very violent and dangerous pursuit, but that could have certainly been a lot worse.
Yeah, this is the Pico Rivera area. Todd Avenue is where this capture has happened. I imagine they're not going to go back the way they came, since they ran through several yards, dirt area, and the railroad tracks. But remember, this deputy's vehicle is parked somewhere back over on the railroad tracks. I'm not sure. Can we see from Air 7 if the other man was captured by the sheriff's department? Because that is happening, I'm assuming, just a short distance away.
Yeah, he didn't get too far.
This guy was moving really slowly. The other guy wasn't moving much better, but he was out in front. So he was able to get a little further, but a sheriff's vehicle was able to pull up right in front of him. So I'm not sure if they were able to apprehend that man. But 4 cars now on the railroad tracks, and you can see those flashlights of deputies who are looking around.
So,
but that is where the deputy who was able to take that man into custody has parked his pursuit his vehicle.
Well, at least we know the driver who was committing the most dangerous crimes on television here by, breaking all of the laws that you saw. We know that person is now in custody with CHP.
Right. I think if we go back to the left, is by that Arco gas station, there might have been that second man on the run. So these are the officers who were pulled up on the railroad tracks. I'm not sure if our eye in the sky and in Air 7 HD can hear us, but if we can head back over towards that Arco station where this bailout commenced.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll work on it, but we'll get over there.
As we're doing that, let's take a look at that crash. You got to feel so bad for the driver, the unsuspecting driver who's just going about their day and looks like, actually, this is going to be the one where did he hit a pole? He lost control of the car.
Yeah, I don't think there was a spike strip.
Yeah.
But just kind of lost control and spun out. Didn't roll the vehicle. It stayed upright, which was a bit surprising. But here's where the two guys flee, and you can see